it will rotate. That's why it's called lateral, because it moves to the side. Torsional, buckling, because it twists. And on this side, you can see the compression flange. But the compression flange cannot buckle about the weak axis. One is the weak axis because B a cube over 12. This is my weak axis. It will not, because it is supported continuously, supported by the web. So it will buckle about the strong axis, the axis 2, and this is what happened. It moved out of plane and rotates. That's why I mentioned before, it's called lateral torsional buckling. The equation that is going to apply to lateral torsional buckling is the equation that I mentioned before. This is on page 16.147. So this equation is another limit state lateral torsional buckling. And like I said before, look, this is your embrace length. If it is larger than L to P and smaller than L to R, we do have lateral torsional buckling, and this is the equation that applies. This C sub B is what I mentioned before, that is called the lateral torsional buckling constant, but in the past, it used to be called the moment gradient, because it depends on the shape of the moment diagram. But so this value of the plastic moment, we have to subtract another value. Of course, this in here is going to be smaller than M sub P. However, this C sub B can be larger than 1, and most of the time it is going to be larger than 1. Whenever we had a constant moment all over a rectangular shape of the moment diagram, this is going to be 1. But other than that, it's going to be larger than 1. That's why this is a very important limit. Nothing can be larger than the plastic moment. Nothing can be larger than the plastic moment. Otherwise, you're going to be saying that you have a moment in here. It is impossible. The material cannot develop moment here. So it's important to check this value cannot be larger than N sub P. And you do need to pay attention, because many of you are not paying attention. You're going to give a value larger, impossible. And whenever we had your embrace length larger than L to R, this is going to be elastic behavior. Why is elastic? Because look, this is the elastic modulus. This here is I sub X over little c. To compute L sub P and L to R, go to the next page. Page 16.148. So on the next page, 16.148, we have the equation to compute L sub P. And this equation, don't forget to divide this by 12. If you can, and you are the owner of the code, write with ink 12 in here. If you borrow the code with pencil, write a 12 in here. So this is one of the most common mistakes. But like I said before, this is given in the code for standard section. And the value of L to R is more complicated, it's more difficult. But again, you need to divide this by 12. All of these values are given in the code, but this number for standard section has already been computed for you. If you had a non-standard, built-up section like in the exam, you need to divide this by 12. In addition to lateral torsional back, on the next page, 1649, we have, whenever we had a problem with the flange, when it's non-compact or slender, this is why we know that lambda larger than lambda sub p was more than lambda sub r. In addition to use this equation, this is the equation for flange local backlink. In addition to use the equation, you have to use the previous equation. So the code requires for you to check lateral torsional backlink and local backlink. The smaller of these two numbers control. So the smaller of the lateral torsional backlink and the local backlink will control your design. If you had a section when your lambda is larger than lambda sub p, we had a slender flange. This is the equation that control. Again, you can see the elastic behavior in it. I'm going to make reference to this again because for each section, for each Y flange section that we had in these three equations, they have been plotted for you. So for each section that we had in chapter 1, in chapter 3, they had already plotted this value. And you can see if this is for a W, whatever, these three equations are plotted. And if I'm in here, this is my nominal strength. If I'm in here, this is my nominal strength. If my embrace length falls in here, this is my nominal. So remember, this already has been plotted for you in the code. So it's very simple. If I have my embrace length, I go up and I find what is the nominal strength on my design capacity. Now I go to chapter 3 again. And I just selected any page. And I want to go to page, chapter 3, page 27. Two things. You have to check that this is the section that you're dealing with, and this is the FY, because they're tables also for CY. What is the difference between LR and FP? Are they braced? There is a question from Adrian. What is the difference between LR and L2P? Are they braced different? Okay. Look, first of all, this is a typical simple supported beam. In here, a roller and a pin, these are the vertical support for the reaction. But in here, we had a lateral support for the compression. 7 feet, 7 feet, 7 feet, 7 feet. So this is L sub B. For each section, look, L sub P, plastic. The P stands for plastic. So look, between 0 and L sub P, you develop the plastic mold. So this is a typical standard section. and you plot the three equations between 0 and L to P, you develop the plastic moment as long as you don't have local vacuum. So this is your embrace length. Between L to P and L to R, you're going to develop this moment M to R that is the boundary between inelastic and elastic. And so whenever you get to this value, you develop this moment that is 0.78 y exact. Between this point and this point, you develop moment between M to P and M to R. So L to P indicates the plastic moment. L to R indicates this moment 0.7 Fy exact. And each section has their own value on L to P and L to R. This is a property of the section of the geometry. Any other questions? Of course, so, okay, there are both lateral support. I was confused because the code make an effort to call on lateral support. And no, don't worry. But remember, all of this is an indication of which moment is controlling your design, or especially which equation is controlling your design. And each section has its own LE and L2R. So we're going to go back to the code. And I would say that here, well, this is page at the same page 327. So I would say that here in the code, you have to be careful because there are several tables. Every year they add more tables. So in here, this is for 50, and this is for the plastic module for strong axis. And bending is about the strong axis. Only in the textbook, sometimes we have weak axis because it is designed to bend about the strong axis, more efficient. But for each section, look, all of this section. For this section, for instance, W14 by 26, the plastic module property of the cross section, inches to the third, is already computed for you in here. P, this is phi m sub p. This value here, phi m sub p, is already being computed for you. P n sub p is phi fy zx. So if you multiply this zx times 50 and divide it by 12 and multiply times phi, give you this phi n sub p. This is phi m sub r. Phi m sub r already has been computed for you. And the next value that is important is that L sub P and L sub R in feet has already been computed for you. And I sub X, because we need to compute the flexion, and sometimes we need to compute the section modules, is given in here. And the other value that is given in here for each section is the shear capacity or the design strength shear for that section. So whenever we have a problem, we're going to get the information from here, especially L sub P and L sub R, ZX. If and only if this is not a standard section, we have to compute the value of ZX like I did yesterday. You have to compute the value of L sub P and L sub R by using the equations in chapter F. But this is why you're going to know which equation control your design based on this comparison. I want you to go to chapter 3, page 119. This is a very important chapter. This is what I told you. They have plotted the three equations for you for every single section. You go to chapter 3, page 119. For instance, look, this is a W18 by 40. This is in here, the plastic mold. This dark, what do you think that this dark indicates if here at the bottom? Look, here at the bottom you had the embrace length. This is the embrace length in feet. This is L sub B. So they already gave me the answer. This in here is L sub B. This dark dot is L sub B. So what is this in here? For a different section, what is this in here? L sub R. So make sure that you pay attention to what he just typed in there. L sub P and L sub R. So all of these sections, they already plot the three equations for you. Of course, since they depend on L in the embrace length, they cannot fit on one page. So the equation goes to a different page. So the equation for each, the three equations for each standard section, they had already been plotted for you here in the code. However, since they cannot fit in one page, it goes into several pages. And the other thing that you have to remember is that here on the top, this is for Fy equal to 50 because we have for other type, it's for a W shape. But this is a very important piece of information. C sub B equal to 1. Why C sub B equal to 1? Because that is the worst condition. That means the moment is constant. The shape or the moment diagram is rectangular. So every location of the compression flange had the same stress, uniform. That's why C sub B is equal to 1. So it is plotted for the work condition, but it can be used for any condition. Any question before I go to our design? Any question? So I'm gonna go and do the very first design. Before I do that, I want to point something out. I know that it's early in the morning. I know that some of you are sitting at your desk, some of you are sitting in your bed, some of you are feeding your kids right now, and some of you are sleeping. Anyway, you do need to open your eyes right now because the vertical support, the support, they do not change. Whenever we do lateral support, doesn't mean that I'm putting a roller and a roller under here. It means that I'm supporting the compression. So these 7.6, 7.6, 7.6, all of them, they are they are L to B. These are where the braces, and that's why I said lateral support. The moment diagram doesn't change. The moment diagram is still a parabola. The moment diagram is still a parabola. So there is a portion of the moment diagram that is going to be in here. Portion in here, portion in here. To do our design, which one is the worst condition? Or which ones? This one, the 1, 2, 3, or 4. To do my design, I have to find MU. Which one? Which one is the middle? And this middle or that middle, because the moment is larger in here. So we have to remember that. This is another case. Well, Not necessarily the largest LB, because the largest LB could be with the smallest moment. So we had to be careful. Sometimes, especially problem, we have to check both. But the most important value is the moment. Look, vertical support, roller and pin. Lateral support every 25. So the moment diagram, look, go from here to here. C sub B is going to be larger than 1 because it's non-uniform. If this were uniform, C sub B would be equal. But it cannot be uniform because we have this support. We had to have a fixed support. We had to have a moment in here, a moment in there. So to do our design, this in here is going to be used, or because of symmetry on the right side. To compute C sub B, M sub A is a 1/4 of this embracement. M sub B, 1/2 of 50% the embrace. M sub C, 1/3 of the embracement. So to compute C sub B, the lateral torsional backlink constant, we're going to divide this in 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. MA, MB, MC. Based on this, C sub B is going to be larger than 1. We're going to see that later. This is a very common exam problem. This is a beam continuous, simple supported with overhand, and there is a dead load and a live load. There is a dead load and a live load. The dead load has to be always there. The dead load cannot be removed. The live load can be and will be removed. Whenever we have a situation like this, there's going to be something that we call the maximum positive between this support and that support, maximum positive. There's going to be something called maximum negative at this support. So this moment diagram in here is the one that produces the maximum positive. Because look, this is the negative moment. This is the negative moment, the 4 times the distance. This is the positive. So to produce the maximum positive, we're going to put dead and live load in here. And we're going to remove the live load, so only dead in here. So if you want to find this moment, it's going to be the dead times this distance. If you want to find this moment, you have to put the case number 1 to produce the positive, maximum positive, dead and live in here, and only dead in here. To produce the maximum negative, look, from 302 went to 1240, very large moment. We need to put in here the dead and the live, and only the dead in this span. Look at the maximum negative, 1240, it was 302. Look at the minimum positive, it became negative 330. So, and I'm gonna explain again the Amira one disease to be largest value. So remember, we need to play with the live load to produce the maximum positive and the maximum negative. The dead load is always there, and this has to do with the influence line that we learned in structure. So there's a question about C sub B. In chapter F, and please feel free Sometimes I'm not looking at the question, but feel free to look at this. Go to chapter 16, 16.1, page 46. First, why you split in half? Okay. So first, I'm gonna go to this. Seems to be for non-uniform, the moment that we had before, is between the braces, right? And in here, between the braces, they tell you that always it's gonna be positive. We had a maximum moment, MA, the moment and a quarter point of the embrace segment. And if you could please underline that is the moment at a quarter point of the embrace segment. So 1/4. M to B, again, always positive, the moment at the center line of the embrace segment. L to B divided by 2. And M to C is always positive, the 3/4 point of the embrace segment. And this is the formula. So this is the lateral support. I was saying before, this and here, the vertical support, this doesn't change. But we put in support the compression flange is braced at this point, braced at this point, braced at this point. So this is the embrace length. This is L sub B. So between this point and this point, there is a lateral brace. Between this point and this point, there is a lateral brace. So from here to the end, we had L sub B. So L sub B for brace, 25 feet. L sub B for brace, 25. That's what we have to consider. Between the braces, this point and this point, that's why we consider 50% of this diagram, 50%, and from here, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Amira, did that answer your question? Also, I didn't see the brace there. Okay, good. Okay, so make sure that you ask. I don't want you to get confused. Right? I was saying in here that whenever we had a cantilever, we had to do this. Whenever we had an overhead. So this is posted in Blackboard. This is page 1 of 30. Lateral torsional backing of beams, LTB. So this is known lateral torsional back. And this is our first problem. Look, the live load given is 20K. The type of steel, 50 KSI. And this is the most important piece of information. Lateral support at ends only. Lateral support and end only. So, what is the embrace length? Anybody tell me L sub B, embrace length for this problem? How many feet? 24 is the answer. Because this is always a student at this level get confused. This is just the distance between the load. This is the distance between the load. This is the distance between the load. But the embrace length is the total span. The embrace length is the total span. Okay? So please look at the problem very carefully. A lot of mistakes that the students at this level make is that you don't read the problem carefully because you're so sure about what you want to do that you rush. And after that, you discover that you have made a terrible mistake. So please read the problem carefully. I mentioned to you yesterday that I gave the size of the well, and people are still selecting a different size. So please read the problems carefully. So I already factored the live load. And the weight of the beam is not given because we don't know. We don't know what section is going to work. So the same that you did in exam 1. You make an assumption, you always need to check the assumption. Some people with experience will assume the weight of certain beams because they have done so many designs that they know more or less how many pounds per foot. Since you are just beginning and the only experience that you have is the homework that you did turn yesterday, just assume that you don't know the weight of the beam all the time. That means that you have to revise your moment whenever you find the weight of the beam, whenever you select the beam. You have to be good at structural analysis. Some of you already passed the course, some of you are taking the course, but shear and moment diagram. So it's not a structural analysis exam, but you have to remember the fundamental. So this is also something that we do in the materials lab. I'm going to make reference to material lab just for your education, because right now you were fortunate because when you took the material lab, you went to the lab and you broke a concrete beam. A typical just concrete beam that we do in the lab has a cross section of 6 by 6 and a length of 26 inches. So in the lab, and probably you don't remember, in the materials lab, plain concrete, to find the modulus of rupture, to find the tensile strength without rebar, you make a plain concrete beam that has 26 inches, cross section 6 by 6, and you load it at the third point. There is a machine in the lab called the Moore machine that loads at third point. And look, there's shear in here, there's shear here, no shear in here. So this is called pure bending, because look, in here we have shear and bending, but in here zero shear. This is a region of pure bending. And the concrete beam is going to break in here because we have large moment and pure bending. Anybody, do you remember doing this in the materials lab for the plain concrete beam? Yes or no? You lying because we don't have that machine anymore. All right? But anyway, the point I want to make, this is pure bending. Oh, sorry, you're not lying. You did the problem that you saw. You're confused. I confused you. I'm sorry. So, look, no shear, pure bending. Right? So, we are fortunate here because it's 6, 6, 6, 6. The embrace length is 24. 1/4 is 6. 1/2 is 12. 3/4, 18. So look, MA, MB, MC, the same. When you put this into this equation, this is the same, this is the same, all of them, they're the same value. So if you add 2.5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, what do you get? If you add all of this, in the moment they're the same. What do you get here at the bottom? 12.5. 12.5 on the top, C sub B equal to 1. So this is the worst condition because most of the compression flange. If you were, and again, one of the most important courses in your life is the mechanic of material or mechanical solids because you do learn sigma MC over I. So if the moment is the same and letter C is the same and I is the same, no matter where you are in here, the stress MC over I is the same. But if you compare MC over I in here with this, they're different. It's less in here. So most of the beam had a constant, the compression flange has the same value no matter where you are in here. That's why C sub B is equal to 1. And so with C sub B equal to 1 and M to U equal to 192 kip per foot, I want you to go to page 3-123. So please go to chapter 3, page 123. And this is what I told you before. They already plotted the section for you. So in here, what is the embrace length that we have? 24. Okay. Look. And here it goes to 18. And the moment, what is the magnitude of our moment? The MU. 192. So if I go to this page, I cannot use this. So I have to go to the previous page. I want to point out C sub B equal to 1. We have C sub B equal to 1. Now you go into this page with the value of embrace length 24. And you look for 192. So you go with 24 and you go to 192. And you have this point. So 24 and 192, this point. You go to the right and above. The very first solid line that you find, that is the lightest section. So I'm going to repeat again. You go with your embrace length and with the MCU, and from here you go to the right and above. The very first section that you find is the very first solid line section. That is the lightest section, the best section. What do you find in there? You go with 24 and 192, you go above and to the right. Okay. So we had a value 12 by 53. Everybody, please, some of you, this is important, please convince yourself, or unfortunately you are at home so you cannot ask anybody, or your cat or your dog maybe can help you. But that is the correct answer. You go with the embrace length, and with the MCU, that's the very first solid line. So 24 and 192. Now I want you to go above. We hit you W12 by 53. So go to this point and go to the left. Go to the left and tell me what is the PM swing. I bought it already. So you already selected the section. You went with the embrace lane and with the moment, but now you go straight until you touch the section, the W12 by 53. You go to the left, and what is this value? Is between 204 and 210. And the increment is in 1.5. So is that 210 or less than 210? Well, tell me what it is. The increment is given in 1.5. So tell me what is the value. But give me a number. 28.5. I want everybody to do the same. Go to the embrace length and hit the section that you selected and go to the left and read this number. Okay. So call that PM swing. And we're going to check it later. So right now, we determined that we had W12 by 53. And remember, if you are lost, if you need help, I will help you later or in a little while. But this is very important. You have to understand this. We went to the charts. Those charts, they represent the three equations that we had, the three conditions, plastic moment, in between, and elastic. It told us that this is the best section. C should be equal to 1, and we eyeball it. And here on the top, 208.5. This is what we expect as being the value of phi m through n. Our design strength, whenever we finish, that is going to be the value or very close. Sometimes the interpolation we need to eyeball, but it's going to give us an idea. So I need to go to table CX on page 326. I want you to look, so I want to look for the section that we had. The section that we had in here is a W12 by 53. Do you find the W12 by 53? Look. Do you find that, anybody? Okay. Very important information for the W12 by 53. Look, W12 by 53, all of this information will be important for us. So all of this information you need it. It's going to be important for you. So you go to the table ZA. Sometimes we have to go to chapter 1, but first we go to the table. And for the W12 by 53, we're going to find ZX. We're going to write Z. PM to P. PM to R. L to P. L to R to know which equation control. Also I to X. And we're going to go and get PV swing. So I already had that, and I've done that for you, as you can tell. So I went to this page and I got the Z to X for that section, PM to P and PM to R. I had divided this by 0.9. Every time that you see my solution, all solution, homework solution, examples, I try to divide the value in the table by 0.9 because I'm going to compute this later. I want to make sure R to create time for the moment. The M to R it stands for the moment. I don't remember now what name had given. It is where the elastic behavior begins. So here the elastic behavior, that the M to R. I don't remember exactly the new name, but I will find it for you. So whenever you look at this, I was saying that I always, to check my computations, I always divide it by 0.9. Always divide by 0.9. So this value in here, I'm going to check again my value. L to P comes from the table, L to R from the table, I to X, S to X, and this is the design shear. All the section, check the light section in that group or just no. The question in here is about, if we go back to page 326. If we go to this page, the section that we found is the lightest one in the group for embrace length. This is the lightest one whenever we develop the plastic moment. So we came to this table to select the property of this, but only whenever we had embrace length smaller than L to P, this is the lightest section. Why do we know that the section that we selected from the code, when we went to page 3-123, Whenever we came to this table with our embrace length and MCU, how do we know that the section that we selected is the lightest section? And remember, look at this in here. What is this value for W12 by 53? What is this value in here? Anybody, what is this value in here? When we go down. Elsewhere, right? So whenever we look at the section that we selected based on the 24 and the moment, this section that is bold, that is dark, what did I tell you about this section? That we select, when I said go to the right and the first solid line that you find, this is the lightest section, the best section, because we are no longer, now we are, this is L to R. We are between L to P and L to R. So the group that was in the previous pages, that's whenever we are between 0 and L to P. So please be very careful. This is the lightest one. When we go to the chart, the lightest one is the first one that we find with solid line. Any other question? So I was saying that we go to that table, the table ZX, just to find what we need. ZX, phi M to P, phi M to R, L to P, L to R, IX, and phi V to N. Of course, this all of these sections that are compact, but you need to check. B over 2 times the thickness of the flange, H over TW. So there's no problem with local capacity. This is what is new. This is what is completely new. Our embrace length for this problem, 24 feet. L to P, 8.76. L to R, 28.2. Just by going back to the charts, whenever we find our section, was that a straight line? Was it the equation of a line, or was it a parabola? When we went straight. So that's a linear equation. 208.5 is an estimate from table 3 to 8.5. 208.5. It is an estimation. It's an estimation from the charts. There's a question about, there was a question I asked you before, you told me 2.5. So whenever we came to these charts, we went with 24 and 192, and we found the section. But also I said, from 24, go all the way until you hit the same section. All right? And so we hit it here, we went to the left, and he gave me the phi M to N. So this is an estimation. It's not from the table. It is from the charts. Diego. Look, when we check C to B or a different FY term is the next best section. Well, you have to be careful. First, let me. Okay, so Diego understood that. Okay, now look. Well, Luke is saying that whenever we check this to be with different FY, 12 by 58 is the. Look, you have to be careful because this table are for SY equal to 50. So SY has to be equal to 50. And if you look at the three equations that we have, so remember, this is for Sy equal to 50. So the next, we had 24 and we have 192. If for certain reason this doesn't work, for C sub B equal to 1, for any reason that we have something that is funny, this is the next lighter section. And this is the next lighter section. See that? Okay. But we do have to remember that this is a pretty good chart. They're just so amazing. When you solve a problem, you say, wow, it's just incredible how it gives you the answer. But since you are a student, we need to do everything. But in the future, whenever you use this, you can close your eyes with confidence. Here, that is going to be the section most of the time. And the phi m sub n is going to be also the value that we're going to compute. And I want to tell you something else before I forget. Look, whenever, and this is the page 16.147, 16.147. So for Bennett derivation, whenever we do not have lateral local battery, the three equations, the chart, not the table, the chart that we just use to select our section, they have plotted the three equations for us. This equation in here. Look, is this a linear equation or a quadratic equation? What kind of equation is this? Anyway, horizontal line. So it's a line, right? So if I had different Fy, I can do a linear relationship. I can replace this value that I got from the table. I will divide it by 50 multiplied by my new Fy because a linear. However, whenever we had in here, this equation had a linear portion, and so I could use a proportion, but it's kind of difficult. But definitely, the last one is non-linear. The last one isn't. So the three equations already been plotted for you in here. So this equation, and you have to remember, this is L sub P, this is L sub R. So now that we know that our value brace length is between 8.76 L sub P and 28.2 L sub R, equation F2-2 control. And equation F2-2, most of the problems, they're going to fall into this condition. Most of our design is going to be that L sub B larger than L sub P and it's smaller than L sub Y. Once in a while, we're going to find something different, but most of the time, it's going to be F2-2 that controls our design. So it had a C sub B from M sub P, we subtract M sub P minus M sub R. I'm calling it M sub R. In the code, they put 0.7 Fy as X, the same. And in here, we had the embrace length minus L sub P over L sub R minus L sub P. And all of this have to be smaller or equal to M sub P because, like I said before, C sub B could be larger than 1. I have computed in here the value of M sub P is ZF, but do not forget to divide this by 12. It's just one of the most common mistake, your units. So P M to P is going to be computed later. We have M to P ZFY. 50 FY ZX divided by 12 give me 324.58. And M to R is 0.7 FYSX, 0.7, 50. This in here is X. Where do I get the value of SX? Chapter 1. Chapter 1, the fastest place to find it, chapter 1. So this is given in chapter 1. It's not given in chapter 3. So this is 2.205.92 and 324.58. Look at the values when I divide 0.9, 324 and 205. 324 and 205. So those values in the table, they're exactly the same value. Replacing the values in here, C to B equal to 1. This in here is M to P. This is M to P. This is M to R. L to B minus L to P, L to R minus L to P. They're the same. He gave me 231.55 kg per foot. It's smaller than M to P, okay? If it's larger, this will control. If I multiply this 0.9 times the value 208.4 kg per foot, look, 208, P M to N, 208.4. What do we find before when I ask you to eyeball it? What do we find? When I say from the chart, what do we find? No, I already saw the answer. Well, exactly the same number when C to B is equal to 1, exactly the same number. So don't forget how good, how incredibly good these charts are. And now what I've done is here. This is P M to N. This has to be larger than M to U. M to U, we have 192. I'm revising my moment because the section that I'm using is a W what? What section I'm checking? The W? What section that I'm checking right now? W12. So it's 53 pounds per foot. So that's the dead load. 1.2 times 53 pounds. I convert it to kip. WL squared over 8 because uniform load. My revised moment, 196.57. 208.4, still larger than that. So the section is okay. So at the end, we say, use 12 by 53. But look how good these charts are. Do you want to have at the end? Yes, because the formula for phi for M to N is M to P minus parentheses M to P minus M to R parentheses multiplied by L to P L to B minus L to P L to R minus L to P. So the formula uses M to P, M to R. So you need to wait until the end to find. Any other question? If you see one not equal, how will you still use the chart? Okay, look, we're gonna solve a problem which is to be is different than what? In the textbook, and I don't know how many of you purchased the code, or you are pirates and you had an illegal copy of the code. I don't want to know. But if you had the test, you're going to read in there how they do it. You had a solution manual that I'm pretty sure that everybody has a solution manual. The author of this textbook, it says, when C sub B is different than 1, you go with M sub U divided by C sub B into the chart. Right? The way I do it, I find the embracement and divided by C sub B. Both of them, they use this. When I found that you're doing this, I know you're copying from the solution manual, but it doesn't matter, you learn. So this in here, either way, it will work. With C sub D is different than 1. However, when we found the 208.5, when we went with our embrace length all the way to hit the section that is lighter 1, we found exactly 208.5. In here, whenever we have this, we are not going to find it, but we can compute it very easy. Or you're going to figure out how to do it. Any other questions? Okay. So this is a completely different approach because we had an embrace length of 24. So our embrace length was larger than L sub P, smaller than L sub R. So the equation F2 that to control our design. We only use table CX to get what we need. ZX, PM sub P, PM sub R, L sub P, L sub R, IX, and phi V sub N. But the chart, we have to use the chart. And after a while, the only thing that we use are the chart. Then there are no more questions about this problem. I'm gonna go to page 6 of my notes, and we had a different problem, example 2. And in this example, a point load, service load 9K. And so this is a live load located at the center of the span. The service load 3K per foot, 30% dead load 0.9, 70% live load 2.1. This information has to be given because in the exams, especially now that we had open book, open notes, open solution manual, you can go to China to solvemyexam.com. So especially you need to read the problem carefully. This has to be given because sometimes I don't give it and you do this. So I know where you get it, your number. So service load, 3K, 30% dead load, 70% live load. So I have found it here, I have factored my load, 1.6 the point load, and 1.2 dead plus 1.6 live, 444. So this is what we have. Deflection, no problem means do not compute deflection. Deflection, no problem, do not compute it. In the exam, you are confused, you're going to ask me, do I have to compute deflection? And I would say no, strong no. But read the problem. Lateral bracing ends and mid-span. Lateral bracing at ends and mid-span. So still we had a simple supported beam. And now we had a lateral brace, the compression flange is supported at the end, mid-span. So my embrace length is 12 feet. I already computed the reaction 6048. And remember, when the shear is 0, the moment is going to be a maximum. we have to design for the maximum moment. So, because the embrace length is 12 feet, I had considered the 12 feet in here. MA 1/4, 3 feet. MB 1/2, 6 feet. MC 3/4, 9. And M. You can call this one MA, you can call this one MB, MC. It makes no difference. You have to consider 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 of the embrace length. And based on what we done before, is C sub B going to be equal to 1 or larger than 1? Anybody? Larger than 1. So it's going to be larger than 1. In the old time, the code used to tell us, assume C sub B equal to 1. Is that being conservative or not? If I assume C sub B equal to 1. Anybody? If I assume, yes, conservative. So it's going to assume that this one is uniform. So we cannot do that anymore. We have to compute M to A, M to B, M to C. There is a table in the code I'm going to show you later that give you for different moment diagram C sub B. I want you to compute C sub B. If you give me the exam C sub B from the table, I'm going to consider it as wrong. I want you to compute C sub B. So what do we do? How do we solve this problem? Just anybody. I already had a shear, I had a moment, I had L sub B. What do I have to do next? Check for compactness. Okay? All right. Okay. First. Okay, stop. Hey, Caleb, check for compactness. Right? And I want you to answer yourself. When we check for compactness, what do we do? What do we need to compute and compare with what? We had to have the section. Yeah, never mind. That's not section. So we had to compute C sub B. C sub B needs to be computed. So C sub B can be computed by using the shear diagram or by consider a free body in here with 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. And this is what I have done in here. Look, my reaction is 60-48. The low is 444. This is my free body or 1/4. I computed in here MA, MB, MC. I had the values in here. This should be a piece of cake for most of you. For some of you, it's going to be a nightmare because you're having a problem with the computation of it. But it's very simple. It's just a free body. Apply moment about this point. The only thing that changes is this. 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 9. And of course, this is going to change also because this is changing. So this resultant is going to change. However, it's easy to compute. This is C sub B, and the C sub B came 1.36. I'm using L sub B over C sub B. The table uses M to U over C sub B. Makes no difference. So now I have 8.82, and M to U 4608. So I want you to go to the chart with 882 and 40608. Okay, which page we find 406 and 82? Which page? 317. Three one seventeen. That is the correct page. Please go to that page. And look, on brace length, you're gonna go with 8.82. So look, this is 9, this is 10, 8.82, somewhere in here, you're gonna go up. And the moment that we had in here is 406. So 405, 420, the increment in here, there, and two keep increment. So we have 406, so the 47, somewhere in here, and find the first solid one that you find. Give me the first solid line that you find with a moment and with this brace length. And anybody have a different one? Anybody have found a different one? Can these people be wrong? No, they are correct. Now I want you to go with the L to B value, L to B or the C to B with 8.82 and go all the way until you hit that section W21 by 55 and tell me what is the approximate PM swing. So the same that you did before, you go with the value of 8.82, and you go up until you hit your section. And what is the PM swing approximate that you find, like we did before? Anybody? With the 8.82, hit the W21 by 55, go to the left and tell me what is the PM swing. Okay, 429. Both of them, they're good. 429, 430, 431, we are eyeballing, right? But if anybody found something different than this, is wrong. So we're doing the same. We're gonna call that PM swing. So look, we went to the chart. This is the question that they asked me before. And like I said to you, you can go with this or M to U over T to B. We went to the chart and we had a W21 by 50. I bought it about 430. I put a question mark. 429, 431, very good approximation. W21 by 55 is the section. So I went to chapter 3. I went to chapter 3 like I did before, and for the W21 by 55. So I went to chapter 3 because all the information is given in chapter 3. How do you use the chart when C should be not equal to 1? Oh, well, there are two questions, right? And how do we go? How do the chart with C should be not equal to 1? Look, um, Edgar, here's the answer. You get you brace length that is 12 in our problem divided by sub b that we just computed, and with the mu, we go to the chart. All right? And if you look at this problem, MCU 40608 computed, and brace length 12. So we use L sub B divided by C sub B, and we go to the chart. This is given. All right. So there is another question out of curiosity. If we don't use the chart, how can we find MC? And this is for, never mind. Okay, for a moment, yeah. Okay. So remember that the textbook uses, instead of L sub B, it go with 12 by divided M to U by 6 to B. Only one of them can be divided nodes. So the textbook gets M to U divided by 6 to B and L to B 12. Either one work. Listen, any other question before I continue? You know, it's normal to be lost. And I don't mind trying to clarify this, but it's better that you understand this now than the next semester. So, any question, there is not a stupid question. All the questions are good questions because helping you to understand. All right. So, I was saying that we got from the chart, we went with L sub B divided by C sub B, was different than 1. And with the M sub U that we computed, we found the very first solid line is the lightest section. And we are able also phi M sub N. We went straight until we hit the section W21 by 60. All of this information, and you have to be careful. Solution manual solve this problem a different way. The solution manual escape a lot of steps. So I want you to solve the problem this way, not the way the solution manual does. The answer should be most of the time the same. There are a couple of cases that I have seen that the solution manual is wrong. So always check the answer. And if you find that all the time the solution manual is wrong, I had to tell you the bad news that you are the one that is wrong. Okay, so make sure that you check everything. So the W21 by 55, we go to chapter 3 and we find this CX, PM sub P, and just to show you that this is what we're gonna compute, I divide it by 0.9, PM sub R divided by 0.9, and L sub P, look, I wasn't paying attention, I got it wrong, I checked it 6.11, L sub R 17.4. I got this information from chapter 1, and also I checked for local battery. This, of course, you know that comes from chapter 1, and this comes from chapter B, and everything is okay. So I did the same comparison that I did before. Yes. Just in case I got a question, M to R 0.7 and Y is it, right? So whatever, I don't want you to be lost. We have plenty of time. And so, yes, the answer is M to R is equal to 0.7 and Y. So feel free to ask me any question you want. So I was saying that I got all of this information from chapter 3. And I found all of this information from chapter 1. And this is the most important step. We need to know which equation is controlling our design. We need to know which equation controls my design. So when you had embrace plan, it's 12 feet, not 121. 12 feet is larger than L to P and it's smaller than 17.4. So the equation that I control my design is 2-2. Most of the time in the real world, this is expected to control your design. Most of the homework problem, this is gonna control your design. In the exam, it might change, but sometimes it changes because you made a mistake with your computation. So make sure that you pay attention to the computation. So this is a very simple equation. After a while, you're gonna know it by heart. But since you're getting all your memories becoming really bad, make sure that you look at this equation. M sub P minus, between parentheses, M sub P minus M sub R. Multiply this is multiply times this. Sometimes we made a mistake and we multiply only this. So make sure that you write your equation correct. M sub P minus M sub R, L sub B minus L sub P, and L sub R minus the same L sub P. It's always the two the same. Cannot be larger than M sub P for an obvious reason. Nothing can be larger than the plastic moment. You go back always to stress diagram that we saw before for plastic, semi-plastic, and elastic. I have a computer. Do you want us to calculate? Yes, I want you to calculate M to P until I tell you not to calculate anymore. Don't forget to divide by 12. 525.6 y sec divided by 12. 525 and 320, 525 and 321. I want you to use these numbers in your computation. This is page 9. C sub B, we computed at 136. We computed C sub B at 1.36. M sub P, we computed. M sub R, we computed. And this value L sub B, our embrace length. This is L sub P, always small. This is L sub R, and this is L sub P. And it has to be smaller or equal to M sub P. So this is our nominal strength. It came, and I left this 418.48 in here, multiplied by 136, 569 larger than 525. So 525 control, 0.9 times 525, 472.50. What do we get when we did our eyeballing 430? Different. I want you to think about this. So we have 472. We have eyeball 430. So I want you to try to figure out why. So 0.9 times 525, because this is larger than M sub P, and nothing can be larger than M sub P. So phi M sub P control 472.50. Look what we had before, 4.73 for table ZX. By computation, 472.50. The revised moment, what we had before, plus the section that we're using, weighs 55 pounds per foot. So we have to revise the moment. 1.2, the deck expand, the entire span, because the W square A, 410.83. 472.50, larger than 410.83. Okay. Use W21 by 55. Any question? No question. Okay. If no question, I'm going to go to the next problem. Okay. This is a question from Diego. In the MU revised equation is in the code. So, look, this was given to us, 444, everything. Right? And so, really, it's not given in the code. It's not given in the code. What happened is that we computed the maximum moment based on the information provided. We didn't know the section at that time. So one of the problems that we encounter one of the problems that we encounter is the yeah, there are two questions, but let me tell you one of the problems that we encounter after a while you become table engineer. Everything you want to get it from the table. The dead load that was given before, it could be the weight of the roof, the weight of the floor, a whole bunch of things. Dead load. Nothing to do with the weight of the beam because at this time we didn't know what section will work, right? So this is the problem that we had. And this is the additional weight that we have. So this is going to be producing additional reaction and going to create a moment like this, where this moment is equal to 1.2 times 0.055. That's the W. L squared is 24 squared over 8. So this should be in the code, should be in your head, because it's simply including the weight of the beam. Now the revised moment is the old moment plus the moment produced by the deadlock. So it's something that you have to understand. Don't become a table engineer like Caleb is recommending you to do, right? We need to add, and you have to be careful because sometimes the maximum moment doesn't happen in the middle. Okay, any other question? So we have a different problem. This is page 10 on my notes. So the lightest W shape. We always in a course like this, we want to get the lightest section just to get the same answer. But in the real world, the other decision, sometimes we use the most common that is not the lightest or the one that we need to make the connection. So the other factors, as a student, the only factor that we look is for the lightest section. And that way means the weight of the beam is not included. Deflection is not a problem. So what we had in here, FY15, there's a point load, dead load 10, live load 20. There's a dead load that doesn't include the weight of the beam, 333, and the live load. So I have factor the uniform load, 1467, and I have factored the point load. This problem, you have to find where the shear is 0, the moment is going to be maximum. And look, we had it here, brace length of 10 and brace length of 20. So the brace is under this load, so 10 or 20. So we come to here, and we compute our reaction like we normally do, and we do our shear diagram the same way that we normally do. And so we want to find where the shear zero equivalent moment is going to be a maximum. And using the method of the area, so we had this area at 1760.30. That's why at this location, this is the moment. This leader area, this is by similar triangle, this is 4. So if you look at the 4, this is 16. So this area, 117.30, because both of them, they're positive, this plus this area give me the maximum moment, 1877.6. And after that, if I subtract this, give me 0. The embrace length is 20 in here. So if you look at embrace length 20, one quarter is 5, one half 10, three quarters 15. The embrace length goes all the way from here to here. So 5, 10, 15. And this is what I have in here. MA 5 or the embrace length. MB 10 on the embrace length. MC 15 of the embrace length. So I need to compute C sub B. So my free body, you look at my free body here. Do I need to include this force in my free body to do the computation of MA, MB, MC? Anybody? The answer is correct. No, because look, this is 20, 5, 10, 15. So my free body diagram look like that. I'm using the right side. This is the reaction that doesn't change. This is the low. This is the value that changed. 5, 10, 15. So my moment, 990, 1613, 1870. I put this moment, this is the maximum. So I put it in here, it gave me 119. To the chart again, with L sub B, C sub B, and M sub U, the maximum. Go to the chart and tell me what page. Okay. 3,100. Is that correct? 3,100 with 1681? No? So which page? 99? So page 99, is that correct? Yes, okay. Page 99. Okay, our embrace length in this case 1681, and the moment that we had is 1877. Okay. So, look, 1877, based on the pages that you had to flip to get to this moment. Is this moment 1877 a large moment or a small moment? I know that you don't have a feeling for that, but you look at the pages and how many pages you had to move. Is this a large moment or a small moment? Anybody? Large moment, that's correct. So now go with the 1681. So this is 14, 15, 1681, go up and tell me which one is the first solid line that you find to the right and above. What section? And you have to be very close. The solid line is the lightest section. So what is the section that you find when you go with 16.81 feet and 1877, and you have to eyeball it? W40 by 167. Okay, anybody else? W36 by 160. Anybody else? 36 by 160. Anybody else? I don't know you're looking at a solution, but you have to be very careful when you look at this. Yeah, 36 by 160 is close, right? And for the 36 by 160, you go up and hit that line and go to the left. What is the approximate PM swing that you find? So for the 36 by 160 with 1950 approximate, anybody else? 1884. Okay, so this is an approximation. You know, your eyes are better than mine or worse, but this is what I did. W38 about 160, and I came about 1896. Right? But remember, we went to the chart with 1681 and 1877. And it's obvious when you start flipping the pages, it's obvious that you have to find the embrace length with a moment. You're gonna find this page without any problem. Once you get to this page, we go with embrace length and MCU, the very first solid line to right and above, it was W36 by 160. And PM approximate 1890. We're gonna do the same that we did before. So most of these problems are very similar. The approach is almost the same. I went to chapter 3. This table of CX is very important. And for FY50, and I found the information that I needed. CX, PM to P divided by 0.9, PM to R divided by 0.9, L to P, L to R. I found from chapter 1 this value. The elastic modulus B over 2 times the thickness of the flange, W. No problem, we look back. And in here, I have put my embrace length 20 is larger than L to P, is smaller than LR. So this is the equation that most of the time is going to control. For this equation, I need to compute M sub P and M sub R because we know that there is no local vacuum here. M sub P, don't forget Cx divided by 12. If this were 60, we multiply 60 in here. 0.7 FYSX, MR, 0.7 FYSX, divided by 12. So we have 2600 and 1580, 2600 and almost 1580. Look how good they are. C sub B, we just computed. M sub P, we compute. M sub R, we compute. Even and brace length. L sub P from table CX. L sub R from table CX. L sub P from table CX. Has to be smaller than N sub P. So in here, multiply. This was multiplied by 1.19. It came smaller than 2600. So remember, no, because we had a C sub B different than one larger than one, it's always M sub P is going to control. In the next chapter, the textbook always assume that M sub P control for the next chapter for beam column. You have to be very careful because this is a typical case that phi M sub M or M sub M is smaller than M sub P. So phi M sub N is 2066.13. Look, I have revised the moment because we had 160 pounds. This is heavy. Most of you in the class, your weight is 160, only a little bit higher than this, but this is a lot of weight. This is a 36-inch deep, 3 feet a beam, 160 is heavy. So when I revised the moment from 1877, it went to 1899.26. So this is NFM larger than revised. This is okay. Now, I want you to look at it the way I have revised this. Now, don't take it personally. Where, if you look at this, where I'm assuming that a maximum moment is taking place. Where I'm assuming, the middle, right? Okay. Where is the maximum moment? If you look at this in here, where is the maximum moment? How many feet from the left is the maximum moment taking place? 60. This is 10, and from here to here, how many feet? Oh, 16 from the right. Well, okay. But it's not in the middle. So the maximum moment is at this location, 16. So I should have computed at 16 and added here. But I'm computing at the middle. I'm adding more. When I revise my moment, I'm adding more that I have or less that I have. So when I'm revising, I'm doing it in the middle. I'm adding the moment in the middle to what was there and there at 16 feet. Am I adding more? Yeah, I know. But I'm adding more or less than I need? More. So I'm on the conservative side, no problem. So I don't have to go exactly to there. Then now I say use diode 36 by 1/6. Any question? Any question about anything? What were you saying about 160 being too high? 160? Oh, well, this 160. This means 160 pounds per foot, right? 160 pounds per foot. The weight of most of you that I remember when I saw you now, because you are in quarantine, you're eating more probably. But it's 160, this 160 pounds per foot. That's why this is a very deep, 36 and 100. This is a heavy beam. And the second question also always give you a conservative ppm to m value. Well, this, when you divide it L to B over C to B, this is going to give you the answer. When we went C L to B over C to B, the section that we select always is going to work for Fy equal to 50. If you compare the 1896 with the 20, it doesn't give you exactly what it gave at the first class, the first problem, because of 6 would be. But whenever we go to the chart with L to B over C to B and M to U, it's going to give us the answer. We need to be careful when we revise the moment. If we revise the moment, and this is another thing, if we revise the moment, it doesn't work because it's a heavy. If we revise the moment and it happened that MU revise is larger than this, what do we do? If we revise the moment and this is larger than this, where do we go and what do we do? What we do, we go to the same chart when we found this, and we go to the right and above. The next section with the solid line is the best one. Or you can go with, you revise the moment and we go L to B over C to B, it's gonna give you the same. It's gonna be the next one solid line to this, that's the section. Any other question? So we do not go to CX, we go to the chart. And the next heavy line, solid line, is gonna be the lighter. Any other question? Okay. I'm going to stop here and we're going to continue tomorrow solving more problems. Make sure that you understand that now we had embraced length. We do not have a continuous support of the compression flange. And we had to compare our L to B with L to P and L to R. All right. Well, that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Mhm. Oh, Ali, let me know when you're ready to go home. It's Ramadan, so man, you might be suffering. You're gonna lose some weight.